All right. Hi there. My name is Christopher Sota, and I'm going to be doing my jazz history final project. Me and my partner's time was at 10:30, and my other partner has not showed up, and it is 10:41 as of right now. So I'm going to be doing this project solo. Right. I am setting a timer for 15 minutes, starting the project shortly. It's not working. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Timer started. Right. Again, my name is Christopher Sota. I'm going to be doing my presentation on Duke Ellington and his rise to become one of the greatest jazz composers of his time. So Duke Ellington, or Edward Kennedy, was born on April 29th, 1899 in Washington, D.C. Grew up in a middle-class family in Washington's U Street neighborhood, surrounded by a vibrant African-American community. Side note, Washington's U Street is known for its African American culture. It was especially significant during the Harlem Renaissance. During the Harlem Renaissance, it was basically an explosion of African American culture and art. It was a perfect melting pot for Duke Ellington to be born and raised. He attended Armstrong Technical High School. He also got the name Duke while attending there as well. Uh, Legend has it that he got the name Duke because of his the way that he dressed, kind of like a prince, and because of his elegant and refined mannerisms, which resembled that of a young gentleman. He didn't have much education in the music world, mostly self-taught through practical self-experience and listening to musicians. He even got a scholarship to Pratt Institute, but he turned it down for a career in music. And when he was in middle school, his dream at the moment was to become a baseball player, but obviously it didn't turn out that way. Excuse me. His interest in music, his parents had a large influence on his music career. He began playing the piano at 7 years old and began playing professionally at age 17. His dad, James Edward Ellington, was played the piano on the side and played gigs here and there. And his mom, Daisy Kennedy Ellington, uh, loved going to shows and regularly just attended concerts. Um, yeah, his parents bought him the piano when he was at 7 years old. Middle class family. Uh, he first played in New York City in Broadway nightclubs, and he led a sextet that eventually grew into a 10-piece ensemble. A couple weeks ago, we did a discussion regarding Duke Ellington, and you might remember one of these names, but in that ensemble was Bubber Miley. He was Ellington's trumpeter. He used the wah-wah plunger mute, and Joe Nanton or Tricky Sam played the trombone, played with the muted growl sounds in one of the other discussions we did. So it was rise to fame. His career started to kick off in the 1920s when his band, the Washingtonians, gained popularity in Washington, D.C. After years of continuing to gain recognition, his band began playing religiously at the Cotton Club in Harlem, New York City in 1927. His band recorded numerous tracks for various record labels like Brunswick and Victor, which helped popularize his music beyond just live performances. The Cotton Club was a pretty prominent venue during the Harlem Renaissance, showcased a lot of African American talent and to predominantly rich white audiences. Brunswick and Victor was also a pretty famous label for the time. It saw down musicians like Benny Goodman, Fletcher Henderson, Bessie Smith. There's a lot more, but it was a pretty large label that shaped the music industry during that time. Gained recognition for his unique blend of traditional jazz and complex harmonics while having an incredible stage presence as well. Uh, He had a wide variety of tunes, with some songs focusing more on blues and others focusing more on swing numbers. His songs were orchestrated well enough, though, that he could give ample opportunity for his ensemble to individually express themselves during his performances, which made each show unique and exciting. In jazz, everybody in the ensemble gets a time to perform. And with a huge ensemble, he had a lot of there were a lot of moments for his ensemble members to shine. So we're going to take a couple snippets of his most notable compositions. First, we'll do Take That A Train. Go ahead and take a listen. You notice that uh, pretty upbeat, it's pretty regular song for Duke Ellington. It was actually composed by Billy Strayhorn and famously orchestrated by Duke Ellington and his orchestra. Next song we're listening to is Mood Indigo. Definitely a different tempo than Take That A Train or something that you would think come from Duke Ellington. Definitely more of a slow, kind of haunting melody. Next one is probably the most recognizable song. It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing, and this version is featuring Louis Armstrong. And last one we'll do is Sophisticated Lady. Don't Mean a Thing was definitely huge in the swing era, obviously, um, but Sophisticated Lady. So sophisticated lady is uh, go back on track with this. It's widely recognized as one of Duke Ellington's signature um, songs. About halfway through, it also pairs really well with a female singer. If you have a second, you should definitely go and listen to it because it's pretty beautiful. All right, next up is his impact on jazz. Duke is responsible for inspiring several artists, including but not limited to Count Basie, John Coltrane, Charles Mingus, Miles Davis, Wynton Marshall, and many more. Wynton Marshall said that Duke Ellington was the soul of jazz music. His sophisticated compositions, innovative arrangements, and charismatic performances set the standard for excellence in jazz and continue to inspire musicians around the world. A notable collaboration he had later in his career was with Louis Armstrong, where they collaborated on several hit songs, like the one you just heard. It don't mean a thing if you ain't got that song, obviously. Louis Armstrong was quoted saying that Duke Ellington was our Duke. Well, the royal court in jazz, he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but preferred a horn. With Duke's music, you never know what you were in for with the songs. What out of the thousands he composed, you could get a 3-minute song or an orchestral number that went on for over an hour. The longest song I could find on Spotify or Apple Music was Diminuendo and Crescendo Blue, which is about 10 to 15 minutes. And the shortest I could find is Creole Love Call, about 3 minutes. But apparently, with a 10-piece ensemble, when you give everybody the opportunity to do their own solos, obviously the songs would go on for a long time. His use of blues, avant-garde, and swing made for a lot of colorful combinations in his music and inspired other artists to do the same. This is just a little short snippet of a Duke Ellington interview. Kind of see what he was like outside the main stage. And it's his back to what jazz meant to him. Right. Its impact on the political climate of the 1900s. Duke also used his music as a platform for breaking racial barriers. It was more indirect than other activists at the time, but it still left a huge impact. He was an advocate for civil rights by advocating for racial equality and social justice. While not being very outspoken about it, he quietly devoted his services to the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or the NAACP. He also held benefit concerts for victims like the Scottsboro Boys, who were 9 Black adolescent kids who were falsely imprisoned. His reach doesn't just stay contained in America, though. He had a lot of international influence as well, since he was considered a jazz ambassador and performed on behalf of the U.S. State Department in countries such as India, Syria, Turkey, Ethiopia, and Zambia. But it wasn't all good, especially for an instance in the UK. He felt the effects of prejudice when he wanted to go to one of the hotels with the rest of his ensemble. The hotel refused the ensemble because they were all Black. This was in June 1933. Political methods were also looked at with criticism because of his quiet nature. Most people felt that he could be more outspoken with his beliefs. He received a lot of backlash for refusing to join Martin Luther King's 1963 March on Washington, D.C., and again dealt with prejudice in the best way he knew how. It was quietly. Now, Duke's impact on the next generation. He advocated for not only promoting music to be added to the school curriculums, but specifically for the inclusion of jazz, since he didn't get that opportunity when he was growing up. Mentored, he workshopped with many students with various levels of training for both new and experienced young musicians. He opened a musical school called Duke Ellington School of Arts in 1974, established in Washington, D.C., and provided a lot in the means of scholarships, and specifically the Duke Ellington Jazz Festival scholarships, which was, I believe, made after his death. But it still goes on to this day. And then after he passed, the Duke Ellington Foundation provided much opportunity for future careers in jazz. And nobody here. Duke Ellington's legacy extends beyond jazz, symbolizing creativity, resilience, and cultural impact. His groundbreaking contributions to music have left an indelible mark on American culture and inspired generations. Ellington's innovative compositions and performances continue to resonate with audiences worldwide. His commitment to education and mentorship underscores the importance of passing on musical traditions for future generations. And now we have one little video, this little closing video to send this off. Sota. 15-minute marks pass, but we'll finish up the video. Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much. So, thank you.